Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to the channel. Right, so today's vlog, radiator. So I'd sit down for this one. This one was an expensive one. This one hurt like a mother, this one. As you can probably see in the shop, we have a box. And it's got Honda written on it. So we know if it's got Honda written on it, it's going to be expensive. Oh yes. What do we have behind cardboard and bubble wrap? One radiator. Yes, one radiator. RRP for this thing, £300. Or just a bit over. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Right then guys, so 8mm socket you all need. There, down there. May have to excuse some road runners. So, as you can see, we've now got the radiator. Now you've got 4 main mounting bolts. There, and there. Obviously, 2 hoses and your header hose. So, what we're going to do for this one is change the sockets round. So, your nut is 10mm. Make sure I go 10mm first. So, before cracking that drain there loose, we want to obviously be able to allow air into the radiator. So we'll undo this. Again, this is going to be a real-time video, not time-lapse. So please stick with it if you can. Alright, so now we've got top of the radiator cap open. Let's make sure it's that one, yes. So it's a star thread. We'll just see which one we're looking at. T50. They're all worn out. So it is a T30 Torx that you'll need for the bottom. Try not to get my feet wet. This. Now these normally hold around about 1 litre of coolant. There is another drain further round. Right, so that's that. 10mm. I lost my wrench. There we are. Right, let's see if we can undo the radiator. It might be actually easier to undo the radiator than pull the clamps off. Right. Let's see if these undo. That's the first one. Second one. Third one. And it left my socket behind. and fourth one. Thank God. Thank God they're working. That wasn't the biggest fear I had. Not coming out, but they're quite clean. Thank God it's only 30,000 mile bike. Yeah, that one's clean. What I'm gonna also do, just to make sure before I go any further, is I'll check the dipstick for the worst case scenario. I hope to God that's not the case. Right, so technically that's now radiator loose. Let's just make sure we haven't got any issues with the head gasket before we go any further. No. So we're good there. Thank God. That was my biggest fear. Right, so with that, I don't have any special hose clamp pliers, but we'll give it a go. Let's see what we can pull off it back here, shall we? So, what we got holding up? Obviously you've got your header tank, little pipe at the back of the top of the radiator cap, you've got your main hose and your bottom hose. Let's see if we can undo them, shall we? Get that out of the way. So I'm just using the standard conventional pliers. Now this may be a bit more coolant out. Let's have a look, shall we? Yeah. That's that one. See what I mean, how tight it is with the trim in the way. Yeah, alright, come on then. Now your header, in the back here you've got your header pipe that is in like a clamp. You can pull that out, give you a bit more room. Oh. Come on. So that's never been off. Right. Now the little one, you should be able to probably manhandle that, but just for the sake of it. There we go, that's off. Now it's just being held up because there is a shroud at the back that pushes the air into the back of the radiator. See, if I took this trim off it would be easier because you would be able to get access to it. But I'm going to try and move the clamp upwards. Ooh, big burly man bike. Now, let's see if we can. Right, I'll just pause this video. Right, sorry about that, just had to pause you. Right, so let's have a look. What's holding up now? Oh, there's looks like there's a loom for the ignition inside there, and basically it lifts away. Let's have a look at it, shall we? And you can see there. Let's have a look at it, shall we? She was leaking out the bottom, so I'm guessing something's rotted here. Anyway, it's off. Let's replace it. Oh, ankles. So, right guys, so that plug there is your cylinder head drain. The easiest way to access that is 10mm bolt. Just at the back of between the exhaust and the swing arm bracket. Undo that and it pours out. That will release the fluid from your cylinder head. Right, so new radiator time. Very shiny. So, wait for the cars to pass. So, what you see in front of you is, so I can get a bit closer. So if any light works, no. Hold on, here we go again. Right, so what we've got, obviously you've got your cooling fan, and behind there is basically your alternator starter inside this quite heavy metal housing. And obviously that generates electricity, charges your battery, whatever. Obviously that's for a separate video, and hopefully we don't have to do that one, but let's see what we can do putting this back on now. So bearing in mind we've got this, so this wants to go in first. See if we can try and gingerly put this back in. Well, I have done is try to unclip that a little bit. So, see if we can shove that top hose back in. Yep, that's in. Right. Now if you remember the clip here, let's see if we can find it. Where's it gone? Pop that back in there. Oh, shove that when it fucking feels like it. Come on. Don't Yugi up on me. That's on there. And other than bolting it, guys, that's how you put a radiator on. So let's just nip it back up, shall we? Mucky bolts. Seems a sacrilege, doesn't it, to put mucky bolts on a new Rad. Only problem is Honda one probably, I don't know, £2.5 a bolt. I mean, yeah, you could use them 10 bolts, 125 fine thread, I suppose. So let's wind that one down. It's not torque it yet. There will be a torque sequence on these. I wouldn't have thought it was much more than 20 Newton meters. I'll say I'm not going to get the book out for that, but obviously we've got to put the clamps back on the hoses, so remember to do that, otherwise it'll blow coolant everywhere. As you've seen, I'm working in, you know, a pattern to avoid like cross threading or just misaligning the rad. I suppose it might not be important, but I like to do it that way. Now, as you'll see, that one doesn't want to line up. Get it to go. There we go. Just want some strutless. But then again, when is this bike not being strutless? in there. Another one. Bottom one. Come on. Right, so let's start. I would say that's more than enough. So you go it tight, just past tight. Go away then. Right. I mean, you don't want to be too tight because it is a plastic casing and you will crack it. So, with that, let's try and put these clamps back on, shall we? Bottom one, piece of pea. That one's quite easy. Just clamp down and we're on. With that top one, let's see if I can get under that. Right, come on. And I think we're there, guys, with that one. Let's just make sure she doesn't pull off. Basically, what you're doing, guys, when you're putting your clamps on, is just making sure it's just past that roof profile a bit. I mean, a small bite like this, I doubt there's a lot of pressure in them, but there'll be enough to blow hoses if you're not doing it right. So, let's undo the new cap. So, a brand new cap, oh, look at that, how nice and shiny. So, that's that. What else do we need? T30 for the... Oh no, I don't need to undo that, do I? Let's just tighten that up, shall we? Just a little bit. So, with that, guys, we should now technically, other than putting coolant in, that should be the radiator job other than putting the cover on. Now, let me just come back to you. Alright, so I'm using Motor-Cool Hybrid Tech. I mean, if you think you could use Honda, but just paying for it. Still, that's £10. So, let's top it up, shall we? Nope, wait a minute. Nearly. Header tank. Shut up. Right. Put the header tank hose on, Simon. Yes, so we need to put that back in the clamp as well. God, that's tight in there. Really tight. I'll put that in back later. Let's get this coolant in. And you've got to allow for air bubbles and whatnot in the system. So it just came to the top and now it's gone back down again. So what we're going to do now is basically fill it up so we can see it, so it doesn't drop anymore. And then basically we'll start the bike, let it run with the cap off for about 20 minutes, let it get warm, blip the throttle a few times, let the air out the system, and then basically just monitor the temperature, see where it does, and then from that point switch the bike off, put the cap back on, and hopefully we should be good to go. So a lot of bubbles coming out of there. Glug, glug, glug. Right, so she's not dropping anymore at the moment. So what I'm now going to do is start the bike. Let me just... Right, so we're now going to run the bike for 1:45, so we'll run it for around about 2 o'clock. Obviously I'm not going to let you watch the bike get warm, but I'll come back to it, but that gives you an idea where we are at the minute. Generally when the thermostat opens that should drop a little bit, and we'll probably need a little bit more. Let's monitor it and see whether it's radiator or thermostat issue. Right, so about 20 minutes in, thermostat's open. I think the movement of that liquid is just because of the water moving. Or I hope at least. If not, we'll see that silver ring there. That's the thermostat. I'll let it breathe a little bit longer and I'll put that back on and then pour under pressure and see what happens. Right, I'll try again guys. I was trying to run my outro and for some reason the phone wasn't having it. Anyway, so that's the rad done, and I hope that helps you a little bit as to what. Now in the video I did say a litre of coolant. Well, if you can see behind me, that's not exactly a litre, is it? Probably being a little bit optimistic. You're showing about 600 ml, so it's probably using round about 400, 450, somewhere around there. Which won't, it's not too much I would say, and I wouldn't say it's too less. I mean that's probably average for a small little system like that. But anyway, if you like my channel, please consider subscribing and I'll speak to you again soon. Okay.